Let me go ahead and hit record. All right. We are recording this. We had a couple people who weren't able to join us tonight, and they're like, can we see the recording? So I want to make sure that we're recording and you all know that you're included in the recording if you join us on camera or anything like that. My name is Kesley Anderson, and I am one of the founders of One Stitch, One Voice. We have Joy McDonnell, who's going to be walking us through the Melt the Ice hat pattern and talking a little bit about that. We also have Sarah with us tonight from Protest Hat Project, as well as Eileen with us from the League of Women Voters. So we're going to kick it off with an introduction to Sarah, pass over to Eileen, and then pass it back to Joy and get right into the meat of the Melt the Ice hat. So Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you, Sarah, and give you a quick introduction. Let's see if I can, oh, there we are both. So Sarah was inspired by the history of the Melt the Ice hat, and she saw a need between her community of fiber artists and people who wanted to support Minnesota. And she created something very exciting that she's here to tell us about. So, Sarah, I'd like to pass on over to you. And after you've told us a little bit about what you're working on, if you'll pass it over to Eileen.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear
Okay.
you.
As Kesley said, my name is Sarah, and I saw the fundraiser that was happening, selling the pattern for the Melt the Ice hat, and learned the history of the hat being a very classic Norwegian pattern. That was then used in the 1940s by Norwegians to show their civil disobedience to the Nazis, to the point where the Nazis actually felt the need to outlaw the hat. And I don't know if anybody else on this Zoom knows this, but the general population of Minnesota is very much so Scandinavian descent. There's a lot of Norwegians and Swedes and all of that. And I'm very familiar with that myself because my parents are from Minnesota. If you can't tell, I got the whole blonde hair, light eyes thing going on. So it hit really close to home with me in that way, as well as it just being a good symbol, I think, with the history. I've been knitting for, I don't even know, 15 years at this point, probably. I taught myself in college and just never stopped. So when I saw this come up, I related in that way as well. It was something I could do in the moment. And once I started to think about it, I realized this could be so much bigger if we tried to bring crafters together with people who don't craft but do want to partake in this way. So I started Protest Hat Project on Facebook to try to bring the two groups of people together and get us shipping hats all over the US to help show support for Minnesota at this time.
I love it. And your group, how many people are in your group, Sarah?
As of right now, about 4,700. And this is like maybe 8 or 9 days into this adventure. I had no idea that it was going to take off like that. And it makes me so happy. And I'm so touched by all the people who have reached out to share their stories with me.
That's awesome. And you brought somebody with you tonight too, right?
Yes, I brought my sister-in-law, Eileen. She is the deputy director of the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin. So she's here to talk to us about some oh my God, I forgot what your thing was called. Take it away, Eileen.
Yeah, no, all good, Sarah. And I'm just excited to be invited. I think I'm a little bit of a add on to the wonderful program that you guys have going on and a support person for Sarah. As sister-in-laws do, we get each other into good trouble quite often. And I had the honor of going with Sarah to her first protest last year, as all of this was ramping up. And it just is so beautiful to see people wanting to do something, wanting to get involved, trying to figure out, okay, where do my talents, time, and skills match up with what the need is? And I think the fact that the Facebook group already has over 4,000 people in it in just over a week is just showing like how much people want to have that, physical representation of their, I guess, allegiance to the movement, and also just how there's so many people who want to get involved and have a certain skill set. And anyway, so it's so beautiful to see. I am Eileen Newcomer. I'm the Deputy Director of the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin. So I am located in Wisconsin and work for the State League, but the League of Women Voters is a nationwide organization whose mission is to empower voters and defend democracy. We are staunchly nonpartisan, and everything we do starts at the grassroots and works its way up. So even when we take a position on an issue, it's about members coming together to do research and then to come to consensus about the issues. So we're very focused on people and issues and not on parties and building party power. That's not our game here.
But you do have a nationwide campaign that you're working on right now, right?
Yes, we do.
I wanted you to tell us about.
Yes, so we do have a nationwide campaign going on right now called Unite and Rise 8.5. This is our response to the constitutional crisis that we find ourselves in. Dystopian nightmare is another phrase that I, use. I don't really care what you want to call it, but we all know what is going on. And the number 8.5 comes from the percentage of 3.5% of people who voted in November 2024. Now, there are researchers who have studied authoritarian regimes in other countries and seen what level of the population needs to be mobilized for there to be real change to come out of the crisis that they are in, and 3.5% is the minimum number, essentially. So our goal nationwide is to mobilize 8.5 million people in various different aspects of civic engagement, whether that's showing up to rallies, remembering to vote, reminding friends to vote, running for office, participating in wonderful craftivism like this. There's no right or wrong way to get involved. It's just important that we all get involved in the movement.
How can people find their local League of Women Voter chapters?
That's a great question. So if you Google League of Women Voters, you can find the National League's website, or if you want to go directly to it, it's lwv.org. From there, you can learn more about the Unite and Rise campaign, how to get involved, and you can also find the nearest local league to you. And so that may be a natural connection point for you as you're, building community, talking to other people, trying to get more people involved in knitting. I know there are many a league member that is a knitter or a fiber artist. So oh, yeah, we have league members in the room. That's so wonderful. Well, then I don't even need to explain more because we have folks who are already in the loop. But thank you so much for inviting me in. And if you have any questions or whatever, I'm happy to talk more or less if you want to move on.
That's great. Well, maybe at the end, if people have questions, we can loop you back in on those. Let me pass it over to Joy now, our resident Joy McDonnell is our resident knit and crochet expert, and she is going to talk about the Melt the Ice hat and get us started knitting. I can't tell if the chat is working or not. So if anybody check it out, give me a thumbs up. I don't know.
It's disabled.
It says it's disabled.
Okay. All right. I'll work on that while Joy, you tell us about what you've got going on.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Joy, and I'm here to help us through the pattern. This is not our pattern, so we can't tell you how many stitches to cast on or anything like that, like finding your gauge and things like that. You do need to go to Ravelry.com. The name of the pattern is called Melt the Ice, and it's done by Paul Neary. And you can also follow them on at yarn_cult. So that's there for you. It's important to go to Ravelry and purchase the pattern, and that way we can support the efforts and the author of the pattern. So really what we're trying to do today, because both Kesley and I have received some direct messages about how do I do the decrease stitches, how do I do things. So we're just here to talk about the skills that you need in order to make the pattern, but definitely not to share the entire pattern.
Okay,
So
I think I think the chat's working now. Should be. So
okay. You got it working?
I think so.
Okay.
So if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. Sorry, Joy, I don't mean to interrupt. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and then I can ask them for Joy live.
All right, so let's hope all my skills work and and we can make the hat. For those of you who have not seen the hat or are not familiar with the hat, it's a beautiful hat, and it has some decreased stitches to make the crown, and that's what we're going to help you with today, is how to do those decreased stitches. And I'm sorry if my lighting is not the best, but we'll just do our best. So essentially you do need to know a rib stitch, which is a knit one, purl one. And that is how the whole pattern starts. And I can show an alternate cable cast on, which is a super helpful cast on in order to set you up for a rib stitch. This is, you can use any cast on you want though. This is just one of my favorite cast ons because I think it gives a nice edge to the hat. And this is just like for the fun of it, right? So this one, the stitches kind of grow out from the bottom of the cast on, which I always think looks really pretty in a rib stitch. And so I made a little swatch that we can work with here so that we can kind of play around and see what it looks like. I don't know if I need to go back to how to knit and purl, Kesley, but I'm assuming people know how to knit and purl already.
I think so. And then I can drop, I think you have videos that show knit and purl. So let me see if I can pull those up and drop those in the chat while you go over you do your thing. I'll fill in the back end.
Okay. All right. So for the cast on, the we can begin with a slip stitch, and I like a slip stitch, just turning it over, or sorry, a slip knot, and then just creating your first knot there. Slip that onto your needle. And then this is actually a cast on that my grandmother taught me. And it's the way that I kind of started out knitting. So I think it's a nice one, and it looks really good. And I'm using the only yarn that I could find in the right color that I wanted is a lightweight fiber. So I'm putting two pieces of it together to get the right gauge for my knitting. So we've got the slip knot, and to begin, you simply knit your first stitch as normal. And with this one, you would knit, and then I kind of pull the loop out and then put it back onto the left needle. So you're doing your cast on a little bit differently. And since I've already got a knit stitch, my next stitch would be a purl stitch. So I come up through the back in between these two stitches, and this is the forming that purl stitch. So I'm going to come up between the two and do a purl stitch. And hopefully I can do this quickly.
Yeah, pull your hands up a little bit more, like up on the up on your mat.
This up? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, you're good.
Okay, we're coming in from the purl side. And we'll do that purl stitch. So it's just like doing a regular purl stitch, but you're coming up through the back. And then I pull that loop around and put that stitch onto the needle. And then the next one, because you've done a knit, now you've got a purl, and you know it's a purl because the yarn is coming out the front. Then you're going to go back in between the next two stitches and do a knit stitch. And then you would just keep going, sorry. You would just keep putting your stitches onto the needle. So coming from the back for the purl and sliding that stitch on, and then going from the front for a knit. And then you would cast on the number of stitches that you need for your hat. And then you would join in the round. And this kind of a cast on is a little easier than a tubular cast on, I think, and it gives you a nice edge on that. So that's kind of the cast on that I've been using, which I think is nice. And then the next thing that we wanted to be able to show is how to do the decrease stitches. So I've made a little swatch here. And the nice thing about this hat is you get two different decrease stitches. You have a knit two together, and then you do a slip, slip, knit, which is a nice way to decrease. And your knit two together is a right leaning decrease, and your slip, slip, knit is a left leaning decrease, which gives you that nice, lovely look of this particular hat. And it brings all your stitches together nicely. So go ahead.
Okay. Lisa was asking, what do you call that cast on stitch again?
It's an alternate cable cast on. So you're doing, it's a cable cast on, but you're doing the alternate between the knit and the purl.
Perfect.
And, but you could do any cast on. You could do a long tail cast on, you could just do a knit on, you could do whatever you wanted for that. I just thought that one would be special to show. Okay, so for your decreases in the pattern, you have an indication of where you should put your stitch markers. And I went ahead and put a stitch marker 2 stitches away on either side of the marker where we're going to do the decreases, because you're essentially, in my mind, I think of it like I'm protecting these 4 stitches. I don't want to decrease in this area because knitting these 4 stitches is what gives you that pretty look. So with this one, the first decrease you're doing is that right leaning decrease. So as you approach this, you're doing a knit 2 together. So 2 stitches before that center, you're going to go into 2 stitches like you would a normal stitch. So it's just a knit 2 together. Let me show that again. So you're just coming in and going through the leg of 2 stitches and knitting those together.
And Joy, on the pattern, what is a knit 2 together look like? So if you're reading the pattern, what is the lingo?
I believe in the pattern, they call it K. This is how it would normally be seen. K, the number 2, TOG.
And that stands for knit 2 together.
2 together. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Then I slip my stitch marker and protect my little 4 stitches that are in the center of my decrease area. So I'll knit through those 4 stitches. And then I get to where I'm doing my slip, slip, knit. And I think this is the one that kind of confuses people. The first stitch, you're going to slip as a knit stitch, which means that you would go into it just like you would a normal knit stitch, and then slide that over to your right needle. Then your next stitch, you're going to slip as if to purl. So when you do a purl stitch, you come in through the front leg to the right, and you're going to slip that over to your right needle. Then you would take your left needle and go through the front leg of both of those stitches and then knit those 2 stitches together. And that gives you that left leaning decrease. And then you would knit all the way until your next section where you're doing decreases again. And that gives you that nice, pretty decrease in your stitches.
It also gives you like do you have your finished hat there? Because that also gives such a neat ridge, and it's like you don't really see it until it's done.
Yeah.
What those like protecting those 4 stitches is really doing, and then how that ridge looks when it's finished.
Right. And what I think is really cool about decreased stitches is how it looks like it's kind of leaning in. And how they kind of go together. So it's a really pretty, I like this pattern. It's a really nice pattern, and I like the way it looks on this side as well. And I did so differences in fibers. I am using the Blue Sky fiber. Sorry, this is a wool, and I did wash and block my hat so that it turned out, nicely.
Elizabeth would like you to, if you could do the walkthrough on the decrease, those little stitches again, that would be great.
Absolutely. Let me just undo. And this is also good too, is knowing how to undo yourself. Like if you get a little bit over your skis there. So I'm just gonna go back through my stitch. I just go backwards through the stitch and take it off my needle. And then get myself to where I was. Sorry, Kesley, which decrease, the slip, slip, knit?
Yeah, I would do both of them. And it's interesting because Tony's saying many tutorials show the slip, slip, knit SSK as slipping both stitches knitwise, which is how I do it. And Tony's just confirming you recommend 1 knit and 1 purl. Is that?
I do. And I'm gonna actually go to my other swatch because this is a one-sided, not in a circular. And it might be easier if I just show it over here. So as you're coming up on that, so you wanted to see the knit 2 together and the slip slip knit?
I think Elizabeth would like to see just the whole row together, if you don't mind doing both of them.
Okay. So if I'm gonna just protect 4 stitches, I've knitted up to the spot and I'm going to knit 2 together. So I would just put my needle in to 2 stitches in that front leg. So when I knit, I'm just coming in to 1 stitch. But when you're decreasing, you want to combine 2 stitches into 1. So I'm going to come in through the front leg of 2 stitches and knit those together. And then you would knit your 4. And then you hit your slip, slip, knit. And yes, there are different ways to do it. This is just how I learned to do a slip, slip, knit. So I slip the first one as if to knit, just like I would a knit stitch, but you're moving it over to your right needle. And what this does is it sets up your stitch. It changes its position on the needle, which allows it one stitch to sit in front of the other. So your first one is slip as if to knit. Your next one is slip as if to purl. So you're going to come in through that leg in a purl-wise fashion, and you're going to slip that off. And then you have those 2 stitches. So now you want to come back and move them back to your left needle. And when you have them back on the needle, now it looks like knitting. So then you would just knit those 2 stitches together. And the positioning, by moving those stitches the way that I just did, it puts that second stitch behind the first stitch. I don't know if you can see this well, but it puts that second stitch behind the first stitch and lets that stitch look as if it's seamless right up to the edge. So it doesn't give you that wrap around the stitch. It just keeps it nice and clean right up to the edge. So that when you block, it looks consistent.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the type of fibers you were using?
Yeah, so I found the Blue Sky fiber, and I'll give a little plug to where I work for a minute. I work at Prim, and we have the Blue Sky fiber in a finer, it's a fingering weight instead of the DK weight. And it's available on handicraft.com. It's HANDI craft.com. And I think we have about maybe 15 skeins left. So if you really want some, I would say hop on there and I'll help pack your order tomorrow. And we can get that out to you.
I know it's getting hard to find red yarn, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit hard. So, yeah, if you would like the same fiber that I'm using, you do have to hold 2 of them together, and each skein is about 200 yards. So you do need 2 skeins, and then you would just hold them together to get the right weight. And I'm using a size 4 US needle to knit that. And I just used a size 4 all the way through the ribbing up to the top. I didn't change my needle size.
Can I make a comment on materials? If you are someone who goes out to protests and is very active like that, if you are in a more dangerous area, you might not want to use wool because it is harder to clean. So if you are going to be coming in contact possibly with tear gas or pepper spray, I'm hearing stories that it's a lot better to use acrylic because of the ease of washing.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I have never tried to wash tear gas out of wool or acrylic, so I'm going to go with what people know. If it washes out of hair, wool is just like hair. So if you just put it into cold water, it should wash out just like it would wash out of your hair. But I'm going to listen to Sarah and what people are telling her. So yes, then go for the acrylic.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I just want to make sure I shared that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, if you did, yeah, make sure yes.
I also wanted to show my what I've been working on with that Yarn Joy. I actually rolled mine together because I'm a little chaotic when I craft, so I knew I couldn't chase 2 balls around. So I took my 2 skeins and I put them together, and I've been using the size 4 round knitting in the round, and I did a knit to purl to rib. So some people do a 1 by 1 rib, but I decided I just wanted to see what that would look like, and so I did the 1 by 1 rib. So I kind of like it. It's kind of cute. So I've got I'd say about 3 inches there, so about halfway up on that one. But this is a very thin fiber. I don't know do you know the weight of the fiber?
I sent the rest of mine out to my daughter. So it's a fingering weight yarn.
Okay, so that's definitely the smaller one.
And
then I also just wanted to show this one. this is a heavier weight yarn. Um, it's not a worsted weight, but it's a little bit heavier weight. I don't know what it's in between, I guess, those two ones. But this was from Finch Mod. And this is one of the yarns we had for our patriotic hats. So I thought, maybe I'll just add a red tassel to it or something like that. But as red yarn is getting harder to find, and when the red hats were outlawed, they did the knitting in a different color. So the style of hat was still what was passed around and used. So I thought I would just show that one.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I love the history, and anything anybody knows is cool to share because I think we're all learning a lot about history.
Definitely, for sure, for sure. Did you have any other techniques that you wanted to go over that you had set up or anything?
The only other technique that I wanted, and I don't even know if you guys want to see it or not, but for me to put the tassel in the top, I thought it would be good to do kind of an X underneath where I finished off my hat. And so I just did half the
You
fiber.
push it up a little bit higher in the camera. Sorry, not like that, but yeah, there, go down. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, sorry. And you can see it's real wool because it's got all that fiber. But I just did a little X because I felt like that would help. And I did half the fiber on one X and half the fiber on the other, and then braided it and brought it together. And I thought that would maybe help hold it a little bit better than just kind of wonky in there.
I love that.
So just a little easy touch there.
I like that. Now, what do you think about like shortening the brim there? I know, like, I love the long brim, but I did have some people say, they'd like it to knit up a little faster or something like that. And doing a shorter brim.
Yeah, I mean, I think at any point that's if you're making hats for others, whatever helps you to get those hats done, I think that's just the key, right? Is how much can we knit? How much can we help people who are in Minnesota or anywhere in the country, so that we can have as many people wearing the hats as possible. So when we did these hats back in, gee, I don't even remember what year it was, when we did the pink hats, they came in all different colors, all different shapes and sizes. Even with our patriotic hats, they were coming in all different ways. So I would say anything you're willing to contribute and to help folks in Minnesota, that's whatever you can do. I'd say make whatever alterations you want, and you could even use any hat knitting pattern. It's just making sure people are warm and that they feel the love of everybody, because I think that's the most important thing, is sharing our love. And we do that through our craft.
I love it. I'm looking for Mary because she says she does hers in a 3.5-inch of broken rib. It looks lovely and is much faster than the 7 inches. So let me just pull her up.
Sure.
Mary, I'm looking for, there you are, Mary. Here we go. I'm going to spotlight you right now.
Okay.
And you can show us what you've got on. If you want to turn off your microphone or turn on your microphone and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, I don't know how well this is going to show up with my lighting, but I didn't want to knit 7 inches of single rib. And this is broken rib. So it's you knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one for an entire row, and then you just knit a row, stockinette, and knit one, purl one for a row, and knit a row. So it's called broken rib, and what I love about it is that it's quite well, you can't really see, and I'm doing mine in acrylic for the reasons that Sarah said, but it's thicker than, if you just like, it's thicker than the stockinette, but you don't have to do 7 inches of single rib, which I just didn't want to do because I'm making several of them. So I can just put the pattern in the chat. for a broken
Okay.
rib if people want that.
That's great. So, you're using worsted wool. Is that like a medium
No,
weight?
I'm using acrylic. I'm
Acrylic.
using
I'm sorry.
acrylic. Yeah,
Is that like
and
a medium weight?
it's worsted. So this knits up to 4 stitches to the inch. So I made up my own pattern because there were a lot of comments coming out on the original pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So I do 84 stitches on a number 8 with worsted,
Okay.
with worsted weight acrylic. Um,
It
and
looks.
I knit for usually for a food pantry,
Mm-hmm.
and the I've found this acrylic Caron 1 pound,
Okay.
which it knits up really nicely. It's not like there's some acrylics like Red Heart. It feels like wire and plastic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not what this feels like. So I'll just put it in the chat here.
Oh, great.
I'll put the pattern for the broken rib, and I'll
Thank
put
you.
the kind of yarn I use.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Sure.
Joy, back to you. I think one thing I wanted to mention tonight was that I think it's February 26th is, yeah, okay, Sarah's not here yet. Sarah's the one who shared the video with me of a gentleman in Norway who said February 26th, which is a Thursday, and it was a Thursday back then, was the day in 1942 that the hats were outlawed. So I am trying to knit up as many as I can and get them shared out. I do have one that I'm working on with acrylic, and I'm doing that rib 2 knit 2. I don't know if I'm going to try another one and do it one-on-one because I'm not sure how much I love this. But I am using number 6 needles with the loops and thread impeccable. So that's what I've got going on. And I think, did anybody else want to share anything about that?
Mimi looks like she has her hand up.
Let's grab all right, Mimi, you're coming in. Nice to see
Okay.
you.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Later. Okay, so am I unmuted? Yes. Okay,
Yes.
great. Actually, my name is Margie. I don't know why I put Minnie up there, but
Oh.
anyway, I'm doing, like the other speaker, I have 2 inches of ribbing. I have on Ravelry, there are a lot of, I bought the pattern.
Mhm.
I looked at it and said, yeah, not doing that. But there's a pattern now that's on there that's free. It's called Melty Ice Toque, TOUQUE. And that's a great one, very simple. Basically, you're knitting a pussy hat with the corners in a different direction, basically. And I made 20 back in 2016, 17. But the other thing I wanted to share was I'm using Simply Soft, the Autumn Red, which is a good, warmish yarn. Because I live in Chicago, and basically we're ground zero for the immigration, the ICE things. I mean, literally, and as a person of color and a child refugees, I'm just waiting to be asked for my, citizenship papers. And I'm like, hey, dude, I was born here, you know? But what I would also suggest, I'm hosting a knit along in my public library. And if you can allow me to share my screen, I have my flyer. And there's a Facebook Ravelry. There are a lot of people. There's a Facebook group called Ravelry, and there are a lot of people talking about this and making the hats, and and so that's how I got into it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is great. But yeah, and in my community in Chicago, you can book community rooms at the library, public library,
Okay.
and they do that every last Sunday of the month anyway, just to, a sewing circle sort of thing-ish, but
I
knitting.
love that.
But anyway, so I did a flyer. So
I'm sorry, I can't figure out how to share the screen, but if
I think I can do it from
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I can't
Sharing
forget.
is not turned on. Must.
Yeah.
Okay, sharing
Okay.
has to be.
I'll allow you. There you go.
Okay, so hang on a second. Let me uh minimize this screen. Okay, so share. Share. Okay, do you see it?
Give it just a
You s-
second. Sometimes it takes a minute. There you go.
I have a t-shirt that says knitting is resistance. So this is what I'm doing. And I really would encourage everybody to do that in your community too.
I
You know.
love that. Do you have people that will be there to help give instructions, or how are
Well, I'm
you?
hoping one of my friends who runs as co-president of the Windy City Knitting Guild,
Mhm.
she has these business cards that says yarn coach. And she's really good, so I'm hoping she'll be there. I am not that good, so I'm going to encourage everybody to make this one. Kind of thing. But I think there might be some people that are, that more hopefully they're more intelligent than me about that. I mean, I know how to knit, I just don't know how to teach it, kind of thing. No.
It sometimes you just have to sit next to somebody and help them. I'll take my son when, let me see if I can do this.
Well, the best part of this thing, the logo,
Mhm.
the hat drawing, I put a request in this Ravelry group or this Facebook group saying I was doing this and I needed an image of one of these hats. Just, and I couldn't pull one off the internet because they're all like photos and color. I needed black and white. And somebody made that for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I asked her, can I put that on a t-shirt? Because I want to put a large one and put down knitting's resistance.
Will you share that in the Facebook group?
Oh, sure, I can put that in the
Your
Facebook group.
flyer? Yeah, because maybe
Yeah.
some other people would want it. That might inspire other people to do that.
Okay, and if they're in the Chicago area, okay,
Mhm.
come on by. I'm serving refreshments. I always have tea and cookies.
I love that.
My hot water pot lives permanently at this library because I'm always doing that. So.
Oh, that's all right. If you'll stop sharing your screen.
Okay, let's see. How do I do that? Let's see.
There should be
share. Yeah. Stop. Oh, wait a minute. I think you can turn me off, can't you?
No. Let's see. Stop video.
Stop share.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There you are. You're back. She's back. All right. So I think that is a great idea, especially as more people want the hats, as Sarah's group is evidence of. And just to teach people to knit, like this might be the opportunity to inspire somebody to start knitting or work on a crochet project. I've been so busy with the knit pattern that I haven't tried the crochet pattern yet, but I definitely want to give that a go and see how that works out. Did we cover everything about the date? September 26th is the day, like everyone wear their hat. And then I did post up in our group an address if you want to send in hats you've made to distribute at the March 28th No Kings March. But the protests have really gotten to be very localized. So if you have a local community of knitters or protesters that you'd like to connect, let me know. I have a form that you can fill out and we can connect you that way. If you're interested in selling your hats and connecting with people who'd like to purchase a hat, that's Sarah's group, the Protest Hat Project. And so we, would love to invite anybody in that group to come on over and share their projects. And I guess, Joy, are we at your favorite part of the Zoom?
Oh, why is it my favorite part?
Where everybody gets to share.
Oh, yes, I love this part. You're right. This is my favorite part.
So I will switch it. I think I have to change my view to be
Gallery.
gallery. It's been so
Gallery.
long. Okay, so if everybody wants to go ahead and turn your cameras off if you've got something you're working on and you want to kind of hold it up and share it with us, we'll do like a quick picture of everybody. Good, Jennifer's. Now Jennifer's using blues. Did you run out of red?
Actually, you know what? I finished my hat, my first Melt the Ice successfully, and then I was so excited to start my Minnesota flag hat
Oh,
because I'm in Apple Valley, which is the south suburb of the Twin Cities in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And so I'm going to make a flag hat next. And then I'm going to get back to making more Melt the Ice hats as soon as I get this one done.
Oh, I can't wait to see. I haven't seen that pattern yet. Oh, I want to see it.
Oh, I think I can share it to you guys. It's really basic because I'm kind of a beginner. And I'm just doing like it's solid dark blue and then solid light blue at the top. And then there's like a felted star that you attach to it. So I'll share it in the chat.
Okay, I love it. All right, guys, everyone, project's up. Let me do a print screen. Let's see if I can get mine.
I don't
All
know
right.
if it's-
Here we go. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Got it all? Perfect. All right. I think that's everything we had for tonight. If you had any questions, we can still do answer any questions that you have. Let me check the chat real quick. So Lisa has a question about the decreases.
Okay.
She appreciates that you don't want to share the pattern, so just tell me if this is asking too much. Nope, we're here to teach you how to understand the pattern. But I think I understand that the stitch markers divide the rows into quarters, but you basically, okay, so, but you basically ignore two of them. Is that correct?
Yes, that is
So-
absolutely right. So
Yeah.
when you're knitting in the round, you would have sent, can you see that?
Yeah, I'm going to put you back there. There you go.
Yeah, so when you're placing your markers, you'll have your beginning of row marker, and then you'll have each quarter marked. And then on the two sides, basically dividing it in half, you're doing those decreased stitches. And in the video that I did do a video on how to place your markers and how to do your decreased stitches. So if I went too fast tonight, Kesley, if you want to put, you may or may not have the link. I can put the link to the video in the chat. Let me,
Do you have it handy?
I am going to grab it real quick.
Perfect. Yeah, so that was one of the things, like when I was working
What these
on,
look like.
Sorry.
that's okay. When I was working on the hat, like it tells you to put, basically cut it up into quarters. On my first one, you put markers at, 4 different spots. And when you come to the ends where you're doing your decreases, and then you knit, and then do more of your decrease. And that one in the middle kept confusing me. So I agree with Joy. Like when I get to that stage, once I've done my ribbing and I'm ready to decrease, I just put my markers on the ends. So like Joy said, protecting those 4 stitches, because on either side of those 4 stitches, you're either going to do the decrease or the slip knit. So that was really what you needed to pay attention to, not the middle part, because once you've done that, you're zoop, knit right to that part there. So that's what I do. And Joy did do her video. So it really just gives you the skill set you need. So if you have somebody who goes, oh, I don't know how to knit, I couldn't do that, you send them on over to Joy's YouTube channel and she'll help them. They'll be knitters by the end of the day.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different, like if anybody needs to learn how to knit, there are videos in there that'll teach you quickly in 60 seconds to learn how to knit, learn how to purl, and then casting on, decreasing. I've got the video on how to decrease those stitches. So it should make it a little bit easier. And Tony, yes, I just see your comment. It was a little confusing. If you're a new knitter, that might be a little confusing.
Yeah. Even I was like, I had to sit with it for a minute and go through the pattern, but it's a good pattern. And even people who've asked me to make a hat for them, I'm like, absolutely, I'll make it for you. Just please go buy the pattern, because that Needle and Skein is the store in Minnesota that made the pattern, and they're donating all the proceeds to groups in need, immigrant groups in need. So I'm encouraging all my friends who are like, Kesley, I don't knit, will you make me a hat? I'm like, go buy the pattern. I'll absolutely make you a hat. But I really want to support, Joy and I want to support One Stitch, One Voice. We really want to be supportive of Needle and Skein. I think you were going to find out if you could, maybe Sarah, you know where they are on how much they've donated.
I don't know exactly. It's been a little bit since I saw a headline, but it's a lot. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Last I heard it was 700,000, but that was a
Was
couple
it?
days ago. But that was a couple days ago.
Yeah,
Tony
I had
says
heard I had heard 650. So I mean, that helps the families who've been affected by ice. So whether you use the pattern or not, it's a really good way to at least contribute and help the families.
And also, I think the numbers sometimes, like, you know, with protests and things, it's a numbers thing. So the more people that are purchasing it, are supporting Needle and Skein and purchasing the pattern, it's just a powerful number. And it says there's more of us than them. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I think we should maybe try and do another one on February 26th. And in honor of the anniversary of the of the protest and everything like that, maybe we can all just sit and knit for a little bit, and just kind of chit chat about what we're doing and invite more people to join us.
Oh,
Yes,
I have a question.
Yeah.
As an absolute, well, it's been years and years and years since I've knit, and I have never knit in the round. So what length of needle do you recommend?
I think the easiest one to start when you're knitting in the round for a hat is a 16-inch circular needle.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I second that. I had a hard time finding my needle, and I had like a 26-inch and a 9-inch, and the 16-inch is definitely the size you want. I went to my little yarn shop, Red Fox Yarn in Vienna, and she's like, "Oh, that's what I use for all mine." I was like, well, I should have just started here.
And the other, as you're decreasing, you're going to get the reduction in stitches. So you either need to move to a magic loop method or double point needles to be able to do the final stitches as you go.
And if you really hate like regular double pointed needles, some places online you can find like flexible double pointed needles. So there's other options out there too, because I personally moved to a very tiny circular needle before I bite the bullet and move on to double pointed needles for the very end.
Yeah, and those flexi flips are really nice because they really help you. They got that little flexi to them, and they're good.
This is how, like, this is ready to finish up and put my tassel on it. So these are my, you get down to the very end, you do definitely need to use the double pointed, the flex, whatever you guys call them, flexi pointed, bamboo. bamboo skewers, whatever you got. Because otherwise
Break it
it's
up.
like a nightmare. No, and Kathleen, welcome as a crocheter. We love that our community is both knit and crochet. Joy and I just have not had a chance to practice on the crochet yet. So
Yeah, and
we get there.
I did see that Edie Ekman put up a crochet pattern, and she's a very good pattern writer. So if you are a crocheter and you need to have a crochet option, Edie Ekman would be a good choice.
Thank you. All right, guys. Sarah, thank you so much. And thank Eileen for joining us. I hope everyone, we learned a little bit about League of Women Voters. We learned about our knitting friends who have connections with Minnesota, either by proximity or family connections, or like Margaret, are living through it, your ground zero. I hope that this uplifts our communities that are protesting and standing against this administration. Thank you guys so much for your time and joining us and sharing your projects. And we will see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, guys.